Good evening and welcome to the FiTT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FiTT Show, helping our folks get their finances in shape. How are you today, Thomas Doty?
I am doing okay for an old man.
Well, that's good to hear from an old man that's feeling good. Because
How you doing?
for a younger old man, I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking, my good brother. And it's just something out there these days, though. The economy is taking a turn, the prices are high, and we're in a war, and all kinds of stuff going on. But we're coming to you today with some information, and hopefully, despite all that's going on, we hope this information will help you to see a brighter day with your finances. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. So please continue to check us out. Um, we got a lot of information, so please, the administrative duty is please click on the like button and the heart button as many times as you can. It counts more than one person can click on it many times. The more you click on it, the more algorithms we get to reach people. So please help us out there, and also. But for you to put comments in the comment box, actually, that's even more greater reach for people because that's how it works on Facebook at least. Make sure you share out there with on uh, Facebook Live, you share, and on YouTube, subscribe. But make sure you share Facebook with your family and friends and coworkers, and that's how this thing works with us. It would be so good. We are up to over 500 followers, and for us, that's a blessing, and we are very thankful for that. Everyone for who participates mostly around the country, but we have people overseas in Australia, in England, Scotland, and believe it or not, in Wales. So we thank you all. We don't take it lightly. Dope, man. What's been going on? A lot of things going on in the market. Oh, before I go to the market, we usually talk about a scam because it seems like every week we used to every so often share a scam with you, but now it seems like every week there's a new scam. There's a new scam called smishing, and I know you probably heard the scam phishing. That's using emails. Then there's another one called farming, which is use websites. But this is a new one called smishing, a combination of text messages, which is SMS, I think sending messages. I forgot what it stands for, but it's using texts to get you. And what they do is they actually send you a text talking about you actually have a speeding violation, and you get it and said it hasn't been paid and it's about to double. And that's the newest one called phishing, sending you a text trying to get you hooked out. So be aware of that scam, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the ways to protect yourself, always on the emails, click on where it's from, because not just look at it, you need to click on it, and you can see that there's usually a bunch of characters, and that's not how it comes. It should be, or it gives a person's their actual email address, and it should be coming from a company and has a person's individual name. Another thing, you all just slow down because that's how they get you. You get to going fast, and then you look up and oh man, I didn't pay I didn't pay my bill for my virus protection, things like that. They catch you by going fast, so just slow down and try to protect yourself from these scams. So, Dope, let's get into today's. Now, this is we're away. We lost Dope there. Guess he'll come back on. We lost him there for a minute.
What's going on? My computer's acting wacky.
Okay, you back. But so we've been gone we missed the week last week, so we've been gone. Actually, this is the second week. And on the 11th, last 2 weeks ago, we did protect your cash payment apps. And a lot of people found that very helpful because a lot of people are using cash apps. You need to protect your money, you all. Our hard earned money.
Bob, another one, I think I mentioned this before, but a lot of people are stealing phones now, especially if they're on. If you're looking at it, which means they don't have to have your passcode. If it's on, they can grab it and they're already in. So make sure you have the phone secured where they can't get at your personal information if they get your phone. Like that's having that second factor authentication with if it's an iPhone, I can speak for we call it Face ID, and you just be careful because people are snatching phones right out of people's hands because so many people are absorbed in them and not really paying attention to what's going on around them. So they get your phone. A lot of times they got your whole life if you have a lot of information on your phone. So
Yeah,
just
I was wondering what you meant by what is being on. So they actually snatched it out of people's hands while they.
right, yeah, right, especially like on subways, buses, or again, crowded areas where people just aren't paying attention
Wow.
and snatch your phone and knock you down and run away and they got your life. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
being that speaks to not being on your phone and not paying attention to what's around you.
and she always tell my daughter, be aware of your surroundings. You should be able to look a block ahead, a block behind you, a block left and right. Be aware because it's a lot going on. So beware. So, dope. Let's get into the top of the show. Everybody's favorite subject is the stock market.
Ooh, it's been ugly.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna give us some better news than that,
And
man.
it's getting worse and worse. What's that wise saying, Bob? The market giveth and the market taketh
Market takes.
away.
Yes, it does.
And
Yes,
it has been taking away. This was realize this is a 2 week period because we didn't do our show last week. So this is versus 2 weeks. You can see the S&P is not far off, but the Nasdaq's off a couple of percent, and all the big boys have taken a hit. Microsoft's down 37 points, Apple's down 21 points, Nvidia 9, Google 15. Even the little guys, Pfizer and Boston Scientific are down. There's just so much uncertainty going on. And I've told you before what's going on with the AI stocks. There's four major reasons that these stocks are taking a hit. First one being all of them had really good run-ups. So there are some people who are just taking profits. Number two is the worry about interest rates. Because if interest rates and the way things are looking now with inflation rearing its ugly head, the possibility of the Fed lowering interest rates has decreased tremendously. The third reason is AI spending. Everybody's worried that, again, that money's not going to produce the, what you call it, productivity and generate the money that's been spent on AI. So, those are the big reasons why. And it's we've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, you get to the point of saying, okay, how much longer can it continue going up? And the other big thing with all of the tech stocks is their valuations have been so high that people are sitting back saying, wait a minute, is this stock really worth this much money? And so, if you look on the far right, you can see Microsoft of the big tech firms is the only one that's down year to date. It's down 27%, which is a chunk. And so not sure how this is all going to shake out. We still got all kind of craziness going on in Iran, and I got to believe something else crazy is going to happen in the coming weeks. So as we've been telling you for a while, you just got to grin and bear it, and you don't lose any money until you sell it. I'm a little disappointed these stocks are falling like this, but again, I'm not worried. I'm still way up on everything that I own. So, but I do feel a little better when the stock's going up versus when they're going down. But as we always tell you, these are long-term plays, not short-term plays. So you don't get wrapped up in these little valleys that you fall into.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, the stocks are down, but not the Stalworth, but GE, General Electric, who I had, they're up everybody else is down, but they're up $5.48 today. And about a month ago they were at $302 a share. Today they had $371 a share, up 22%. So I don't know what's going on, but GE, and I know they make the engines for ships and tankers and airplanes and stuff like that. So I don't know if the war is driving that, but it sort of seems that it's doing that way. And my semiconductor stock, like Nvidia, NXP out of Holland, they're up $4 today. Everybody else is down, so it's always good.
Micron was up big time. Micron was up 16%.
Yeah, Micron's been killing. I mean, it was up 2 weeks ago too, though. Micron has been killing. Um, uh, and so we do know that how the market works, right? Usually when the market's up, bonds are down. It's an inverted effect, and when market is down, bonds are up, and it's sort of falling right now because the 30-year Treasury is at 4.86%, and that's up because normally, high yield savings accounts are now a little bit under 4, but the 30-year Treasury is up to 4.86, and that's a good rate though for a Treasury, right?
You ain't kidding. That looks really good right now.
Yeah, and if the market keeps going down, it's usually that inverted effect, and also used to be an inverted effect with commodities too. Usually, especially the physical gold, not on paper like stocks and everything is, but gold is down today alone $10.50 an ounce. It's down to $4,037 now. A few months ago, though, it was over $5,000. At the beginning of the year, it was over 5,000, highest it's ever been, and they were projecting gold to go to $10,000, and silver was over $100 an ounce, and now silver is down $58 an ounce. And
yeah, my Roth that I had Bitcoin and gold in, it's down 25%.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people are selling off, and that's
there's always people taking profits.
Always people taking profits, but I do know when it comes to commodities, especially like gold and silver, where you can physically hold them. And remember, Darman, when you told me you had the gold fund, and I thought, I'm like, oh man, because the gold fund you can trade during the day, during the market, But if you have the physical gold, you got to find a place that you can actually trade it, and they're usually going to barter you on the rate. And I thought that was bad, but I'm reading now and finding out that physical commodities, physical gold and silver, having that actually has a little bit more value than the paper gold funds and silver and palladium funds. So if you have some physical, that's not a bad way to go.
So you just got to realize you can't just go sell it.
That's the downside. And then when you do, even though the rate is like $4,037 right now, but that's not, they're going to barter you.
You may not get that. You may not get
right. But it's still having physical gold is a little bit better than on paper, because paper is kind of, what's the word they say? Not convoluted, but on paper it's just different, because they do all kinds of stuff with those markets. But no, in my little theory, and I'm just gonna go with this, all these sovereign countries like Switzerland and Sweden, they're buying up silver, and they're putting moratoriums on their people to buy silver. And what I just saw the chart, man, on the data centers. The data centers are mostly run with, though?
Silver.
80% silver,
right.
75% palladium, and what's the other one? And about 80% platinum. So I don't know. I'm just saying, throwing it out there, and they talking about building all these data centers all around the world, and just something to think about. Though, let's talk about cryptocurrency, man. 2 weeks ago was 2,256,000,000,000. It's down 120 billion. It's down 5% the total market. Now, excuse me, 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin was at $63,325. It's down 11%. It's down $6,905.
Yeah, remember when it was over 100?
Yeah, it was like 121, though, the highest it got. And it's down now to 59,420. We told y'all, we told you it's speculative, so you shouldn't be a shocker, And we always said, know what you have and have a plan for what you have, and you should be okay. You know what I mean? We always talk about the long play anyway. Ethereum is down 7%. All the cryptocurrencies are down, but the stable coins has been steady though. They've been staying at 99 cents. And the stable coins are Tether USDT, which is in the third position of all cryptocurrency, and USDC is at the fifth. It actually overtook Ripple. Ripple, XRP, it was in like the fourth position. It has dropped down, and it's down 10%. So, keeping an eye on the cryptocurrency market. It's still supposed to be another peer-to-peer transaction type currency that they're hoping one day that people will use it actually as currency to buy things in the stores, but it just haven't got there yet. So just keep an eye on it. So, dope. Today's show, man, we're going to talk about, since we're in June, we want to talk about the mid-year checkup for 2026.
Yeah, next week's July.
Already.
Yeah, and this is a good time to sit back and take a look at your financial objectives and make sure you're where you need to be. You're looking at what expenses you got coming, what changes in your income you got going on. If you need to shift priorities, now would be the time to do it. And it's one of those things that it's boring, not a lot of people like to do, but it's necessary. It's necessary to do a mid-year check, a gut check, get a good picture of where you are, what's going on with your spending, what's going on with your savings. Look at your goals, make sure you're on track for being where you're supposed to be. This process helps you avoid surprises, and it empowers you to make informed decisions for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's just important. I think more people need to do it, and I don't think a lot of people do, though. Because the mid-year checkup is more than just a review, though. It's an opportunity to take control of your financial future. And without regular check-ins, it's easy to lose sight of your goals and to get caught off guard by unexpected financial challenges. Midway through the year is a great time to update, and look at even your net worth, because most people don't look at their net worth. They just look at their income, and that's totally two different things. Your income and net worth are two different things. Your net worth is actually, the value of your assets, your assets minus your liabilities, and that gives you, your discretionary income. But begin, listing your assets, including checking and savings accounts and retirement and investment accounts, property, any other valuables. Then just subtract your liabilities, such as your credit cards, outstanding loans, and mortgage payments, and then track that number year over year, and it will reveal whether you're building wealth steadily or accumulating debt, and to help you spot trends that might otherwise go unnoticed. So net worth, is something that is very important that you need to do, and why you do it mid-year, because that way you can make any adjustments by the end of the year. If you find yourself, actually, like I said, if you accumulating more debt, then that is not a good thing, though. So let's kick this off, though.
Yeah, you think about why it's important and why should you do it. Well, first of all, hopefully you set a financial plan for yourself. You set some goals, you have a budget. We always talk about that, and we know that's another one of those things that are boring. It's boring to do. You don't want to take the time to do it. But if you look at people who've been successful, who built wealth, I guarantee you they had a plan. They had goals in mind, and they set up a plan in order to reach those goals. Part of that plan is a budget of what comes in, what goes out. You have to take a look at that. During the first half of the year, sometimes things happen, life events. You might have a new child. You might change jobs. The economic volatility may have affected your money. You may have a situation where you got tax consequences of things that have happened. A whole lot of financial things could happen that need your attention that you may have to make some changes to. So if you check it mid-year, you can look at your progress. And if you aren't making the necessary progress, you can make some adjustments to figure out how to get back on track so you end the year where you want to be. You accomplish the goals you've set out to go. Your savings priority may have changed. You might have more income, and you might have other things that you can do with that money. You could have bigger expenses, and you just have to be able to adjust and not just take things, not paying attention to what's happening and kind of like floating randomly at sea. You could end up anywhere. If you take a look at where you are, where you want to be, make sure you're making the necessary changes that keep you on track. The rest of the year, you're going to accomplish the things that you planned on accomplishing.
Now, Dote, you said a word that a lot of times, kind of shocks people, when you say the word budget, right? And a lot of people call a budget your money on a diet. And it's just another word, a good word for a budget is spending plan. But
that's a better word, because budget implies that's like the word diet.
Yeah.
Instead of eating healthy,
Yeah.
Diet, and you automatically thinking you're denying yourself something.
That's what I says. People hear it as like your money on a diet, But though you mentioned budget and several other things, but I want to go back to that point. You need to rethink your budget, because just because you got a budget that you did last year, 2 years ago, who knows how long ago, you also need to rethink your budget, because this should be the top priority of your mid-year financial checkup. If you created a budget at the beginning of the year, now's the perfect time to reflect on how well that budget is working. Or if you did it, 2 years ago, have you made progress towards your goals? If not, consider cutting spending. And we talk about intentional spending and building savings to help build momentum for the remaining months in the year. Now, this is also a good time to decide if your budget is really working for you. If you create a detailed budget that you're having a difficult sticking with, consider shifting to a more realistic or flexible budget. And remember, there's no right way to manage your money. There's so many different ways, but there's no right way, but no one way. A strong budget can simplify your life and how you spend your money now, while reducing that stress and worry that we always deal with when we look at budgets.
Yeah, you got to look at your credit report. You got to check your credit score. And, we keep talking about, scams and fraudsters. They are working full time to steal your money. I was just reading about Cambodia has cracked down on, I think you had these companies in Cambodia who were basically enslaving people to make scam calls. Okay, that was their full-time job. They were working these people 18 hours a day. They were punished if they didn't meet certain quotas. And supposedly they've cut back on that, but that's still happening all over the world, especially in Russia. So you got to check your credit report. And as we always tell you, your credit scores at all three bureaus should be frozen. Unless you're actually actively applying for credit somewhere, your credit file should be frozen. There's no reason for it to be open. That only gives scammers an opportunity to get at you. Okay? So you check it through, check your credit report. Even if you just do it quarterly, that's something you should do at some point. Mid-year is a good time to do it. Okay? The better you take care of your credit score, the cheaper life's going to be. You're going to get better rates on loans, mortgage rates. A lot of new companies check credit scores when you get hired, and it just makes your life easier by giving you lower interest rates. And so, take a look at it. Make sure you're straight. Make sure nobody's haven't opened up any accounts in your name. Making sure there's no mistakes out there that you need to correct. because credit's one of those things. If you aren't asking for credit and you aren't checking your score, like, you don't notice anything. But if for some reason you need credit and your credit score is bad, you don't want to have to try to fix that before you get the credit that you need.
And two things, though, I want to make a point on that. You need to check it through its annualcreditreport.com. There's one that says free annualcreditreport.com. That is not the one from the 3 credit bureaus. It's annualcreditreport.com. So make sure you make note of that. And it was something else I wanted to talk about. And some people ask me this, though, because they misunderstand when you say put a credit freeze. It doesn't freeze you from using your credit card. It just freezes for people from stealing your credid information.
We're looking at the credit account. It keeps people from doing the credit inquiry on your credit account.
Right. But you can still use your credit. It doesn't freeze your credit. So don't get it mixed with that, because a couple of people had asked me that.
And be careful with Experian, because they sell a product that it's similar to freezing your account. Freezing your credit should not cost you any money. It's free. Okay, so just be careful, because Experian tries to get you to buy one of their products. You don't need to buy a product to freeze your credit score.
Hey, though, for people who are renting and leasing, rent prices have been increasing. The national median rental is between is about $2,029, and it can go from $900 to $2,020. That's just the national median rental. If your lease is up for renewal soon, it may be time to reevaluate your lease agreement to ensure that getting your money's worth and paying for only what you need. Now, usually landlords want to keep good tenants, so good news is you may not have to move to find a better deal. If you can start by looking at similar nearby rates to get a sense of the market and determine a price that seems fair and manageable. About 2 to 3 months before your lease expires, approach your landlord and ask if they'd be willing to negotiate on the rent. Like I said, do a little research and find out what the area is paying, and you can then use that when you go to negotiate your rent. And offering them something in return, such as signing a longer lease or paying last month's rent up front, may help swing things in your favor. Timing often matters when it comes to negotiating your rent or lease, anything like that. So it's best to know whether you're in a buyer's market or your landlord is planning to sell a property soon.
Unless you ask, you won't get. Got to ask. Cost you nothing, doesn't hurt anything. Another thing you ought to do is check your health benefits. And that's something you may have had a life event where you can change plans, or if you had a child, or you move from one area to the next, or you change jobs, or you lost your employee sponsored insurance. You might have hit the age where they kick you off your parents. There's a bunch of reasons, got married or divorced, had a new kid. There's a bunch of reasons why you're eligible to change your health plan. So take a look at it, make sure you're where you need to be, make sure you're on track. If you have HSA money put away, make sure you're on track for using that, so you don't sitting at the end of the year with a big amount. Check your health benefits, make sure everything's like it should be.
And that's a big one, man. You definitely need to review your health benefits, because there's so many ways that you can find savings. You can renegotiate your prescriptions. Believe it or not, your prescriptions you might not be using anymore. Please review that. It makes a big difference. I want to talk about your retirement accounts, right? You need to look at those, because when was the last time you reviewed your 401k plan or your IRAs, your individual retirement accounts? Not only does that making the maximum allowable contribution using pre-tax dollars add up significantly over time, if you're not taking advantage of the company's match, that's money you leaving on the table. You need to boost your pre-tax contributions also. Now, contribution to traditional, not the Roth, employee retirement plans, traditional IRAs, and like Dote say, HSAs, health savings accounts, they all reduce your current federal taxable income dollar for dollar. That's dollar for dollar when they are made with your pre-tax dollars. And I just want to make a quick note when people talk about taxes, right? Remember, when you're getting a deduction, that's not dollar for dollar. That's just whatever your tax bracket is, you're getting that less the dollar. But this is a dollar for dollar money. And if there's room in your budget to increase your savings, if it makes sense within your analysis and your financial picture, consider increasing contributions. Now, the employee sponsored plans, the 401k and the 403b, which a lot of teachers have, the participants now for 2026, the general contribution is up to $24,000, $500. And you have until December 31st as the final date to make their contributions. Now, people who are 50 and older can make the catch-up contributions, and that's now up to $8,000 if you 50 and over. So that's $32,500 that you can have off the top of your taxes. Now, individuals, they have a new thing now. Individuals 60 through 63 years old will be able to make a catch-up contributions to eligible retirement plans of $11,250. That's the catch-up if you're between 60 and 63 of $11,000, up from the $8,000 in place of the $8,000. Now, combined limit, and people don't look at this sometimes though, for employee and employer contributions is $72,000. So you need to make sure you don't, you can put more in, but the maximum contribution you can make is $72,000. Now there's an income threshold for higher earners, and some of you on here, I know you all are. If you make $160,000 above in the prior tax year, your catch-up contributions can only be put into a Roth, which is after-tax dollars, starting this year, unless your plan doesn't offer a Roth. Now, IRAs have until the federal tax filing deadline of April 2027. That's for IRAs to contribute, right? Different than the traditional, which is, for 2026, for traditional, excuse me. The contribution limit is $7,000 for IRAs, or if you're 50 and older, it can be another $1,000, and it will be $8,000. While only contributions to a traditional, not Roth, IRA may provide current tax benefits, they can also be powerful future tax advantages to making the Roths. Last one I want to talk about is RMDs, right? The required minimum distribution. It has increased. They took it up. Used to be like 70. Now for 401ks, required distribution, required minimum distribution, RMDs, is now the age of 73. You don't have to start taking out withdrawals until you're 73. Now, be careful because you take this out, it could put you in a higher tax bracket. So Roth catch-ups avoid this entirely and can grow tax-free. That's the benefit of being in a Roth.
Yeah, and speaking of taxes, if you do have an RMD, this is a good time to look at your tax situation. You just completed your taxes a few months ago. You know how much you owed or how much you got back. If you got a big refund, you need to make an adjustment and make sure you don't get that next year, that you're using that money. You aren't giving Uncle Sam the use of your money. And if you've had an increase in income or you're selling some stocks at a gain and you're going to owe more, you might want to increase your withholdings. You don't want to end the year owing an amount that triggers under withholding penalty. So you want to make sure you're right with Uncle Sam. Take a look at your taxes, make sure you are where you need to be. You know whether you got raises, you know whether you got extra deductions, you know whatever life changes you have. Make adjustments to your tax situation so you're in the year where you want to be.
You need to also re-examine your debt strategies. Look at the way that you are paying off your debt. Know exactly what your total debt amount is. Take stock in every debt you have. Write down the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment for each. Finally, add all of the balances together to know exactly how much debt you have to pay off. Now, calculating debt isn't anyone's favorite activity. I know it's put stress on a lot of people, but it's vital. It's vital to managing your money. At the mid-year checkup review, you owe what you owe and review what you owe and answer these questions. Do I have more debt now than at the beginning of the year? Do I have less debt? What's my plan for reducing debt? I have a plan for reducing debt. Is it working or should I revise it? These are kind of questions you should ask yourself. Now, here are two approaches you can take to pay off the debt. One, pay off the card with the highest interest rate, then move to the next highest rate card, and so on. Second, pay the card with the smallest balance, not interest rate, smallest balance first, then move on to the next one, so on. Whatever you plan to attack, make the minimum payments on your other cards to avoid late charges.
Yeah, and this is a good time too to revisit your personal, financial goals. Look and see if you are on track, if you had to make any big changes because, your money didn't come in like you thought, or you had to relocate, or whatever the case may be. This is a good time to look at your goals and see if they make sense. See if they still fit where you want to end up, where you want to end up being. Okay. And everybody has setbacks. It's still important for you to devise something to get you where you need to be. And goals aren't set in metal or steel. They need to be adjusted as circumstances change. Because if you get to the point where you really aren't sticking to your goals, and again, you can end up anywhere, and more likely it's going to be someplace that you don't want to end up. And this is the thing that most people don't realize is that small adjustments to your financial life, to your financials, can make a huge impact when you start talking about over years and years and years. And so this mid-year checkup, you might make a small change, but 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, that small change can accumulate a whole lot over that time period. So don't worry about having to make small changes, make them, but get a course and try to stay close to it as you can.
The next thing, you need to take action after you do your mid-year financial checkup. The mid-year checkup should give you a clear idea of what actions you need to take to stay on track with your goals. There's a saying that goes, knowledge is power, but I don't believe that's right. I think knowledge is information. I believe taking action is power. But here's some tried and true recommendations to help keep you moving forward for the remainder of the year. Build, definitely, and maintain a emergency fund. Now, putting every small amount aside for emergencies can help you recover more quickly from financial setbacks, and it keeps your finances on track. If you don't already have 3 or 6 months, just as a benchmark of living expenses set aside, we commit to allocating money each month to rebuild or to contribute even more to your emergency fund. It may take a while, but it's worth it, Plus, stashing the cash, not just in a traditional savings account which pays less than 1%, but, think about putting it in a high yield savings account, and it can help your money grow faster compared to just being in a regular checking or savings account.
Yeah, and look at your spending. You have to know where your money's going. Look at your bank statement. Look at your credit card statements from the past few months and see if you're spending money on things that you can eliminate, and unless you look at it, you're just going to keep going and doing what you're doing. And if what you're doing isn't putting you on the path you need to be, then you need to change it. That's the only way things can be different, if you make changes. And a lot of times you get these recurring expenses. Every morning you stop at Starbucks and get a coffee. or you have things that are automatically deducted from your account, you kind of lose track of those. You got to ask yourself, any subscriptions you get, are you using those? Are you going to the gym that you're paying for? Those kind of things, they just tend to keep happening, and you get used to them, and you get numb to the fact that they're sucking money out of your account. Take a look at it. Make sure the money you're spending brings you some kind of joy or some kind of improvement in your life. Not that you're just spending this every month, not knowing where your money's going. Some of the bills, like Bob mentioned about your lease, you can try to negotiate a lower rate, especially with your cable internet bills. I try with everything. It's funny, I've had Sirius Radio, I don't know how many years, and every year I get the notice saying my rate's going to be the normal rate, and I call them up, tell them to cancel me. Okay, what can we do to keep you? Well, okay, you can keep the same rate I've had every year. I mean, it's a pain in the butt to have to call, but I pay $6 a month for Sirius, and it's about how much I use it. I wouldn't pay a penny over $6 a month for that. But you have to try. It's just like we said about your lease. Unless you ask, nobody's going to call you and volunteer to put money in your pocket. You have to ask. And if you ask and say no, you haven't lost. What's the old saying, Bob? Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
And Doe, that's such a interesting thing when you say about calling, because I did the same thing with Sirius XM, and but mine was at $9, and it's way more than that for other people getting in now. But I did. I said, well, okay, I'm gonna let it count. Oh, let's work it out. We'll keep you at the same rate. So I've had the same rate for several years, several different cards.
I probably had it 10, 15. And I've never paid their standard rate.
Same here. And the other same thing goes too, though, about debt consolidation company agencies. You can call yourself, it ain't nothing. They don't have no certain relationship with these your people that you owe. They're doing the same thing that you can do, but make that call. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and try to, negotiate those things. I want to talk about getting a break on your insurance rates, though, because insurance.
They're going up like crazy, Bob.
That's what I can say, man. They just been going up crazy, especially in the Maryland area, man. But many insurance carriers offers discounts to loyal customers, definitely with safe driving records. And if you've been paying the same rate for years, consider contacting your provider about potential discounts. You can only pay to shop around. And like I say, once you tell them the rates, you'd be surprised how another company will be willing to deal with you. Compare rates against a few insurance companies, ensure that you at least still getting the best deal. Even if you don't get anything better, just make sure you're getting the best deal for what you got.
Yeah. If you're saving for kids' college, make sure you do a checkup on your college savings plan, and you want to get really upset, look at college cost projections. You might you might go crazy if you look at that. But if you want to start saving for college, good time to do it. Look at savings options, review the 529 plans where you can save money, before taxes, before state taxes. If you have student loans, look and see how much progress you're making. See if there's any way you can get a lower interest rate. See if you can maybe pay it off a little faster to cut down your interest charges. But those are kind of things mid-year, take a look at, make sure there's no opportunity to save you money.
And Doe,
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about the mid-year, 6 months, right? But then plan for the rest of the year. Think ahead. Are there major expenses on the horizon, like back-to-school supplies or holiday travel, or even insurance renewals? Examine your finances midway through the year is a good habit to get into. Now, the mid-year financial checkup allows you to assess how you're progressing towards your annual financial goals and make adjustments along the way, like retooling your budget, your cash flow, spending, your living expenses, and even your health benefits. These checkups combined with everyday financial health practices can help you keep your personal finances on track, no matter what life, throws at you, what unexpected consequences come. That creating a forecast now can prevent last minute financial stress later.
That's for sure.
Yeah, though. We put a lot out there. We got some comments. Kitty said, I retired now, so my monthly income has decreased. Yeah, and the thing about people like my friends who worked at the FDIC, though, the other thing is, though, we were getting paid twice a week. And getting that check once a month, that's a whole different, that's
Yeah.
different.
Social Security, that comes at different times.
Yeah, but we go for twice a week. It's totally different getting it once a month. I had to get used to that. And so Kitty said, my MasterCard interest rate is too high. I spoke with them this week about lowering the rate. Good for you, Kitty. Yeah,
Sure.
great stuff. That's what you need to do. So, Doug, we talked about a lot there. So let's go to the summary and takeaways for today's show. And here we go. We had a lot there, and just want to recap and get y'all. It's working today, dope.
You got a couple weeks in a row. First of all, things change. If you got a plan and things aren't going the way you think, you need to adjust. You don't make your plans in ink because things change. You have to be ready to adjust because you want to end up the year where you think you need to be, but you got to make sure you're staying on course.
Why do we do a mid-year review? To safeguard your wealth. Check your credit report, annualcreditreport.com. Check look at your passwords. Don't be using that one password for 15 different accounts. Come on. Somebody's going to crack that little simple formula. And also keep an eye, like I talked at the top, about identity theft. And that's one of the reasons why you check your credit report. But also check your accounts, because people can go in there, and especially if you got those payment apps, you need to keep an eye on your money too. And also, if you don't, get an estate plan. If you have one, review the estate plan in case there's any changes. So safeguard your wealth.
Yeah, and this is just a step in the process. Building wealth and maintaining wealth takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, takes a plan. You have to maintain your discipline, understand your risk tolerance. You got to have goals. You got to have something you're striving for, and you have to do things to make sure you're going to get there. Looking at your budget. Those are things that nobody wants to do, but I can tell you, anybody who's ever built any wealth did these things. They took the steps necessary to build wealth. Nobody likes to do it. It's just like to be good at anything, it takes work. To generate a lot of money, it takes work.
Lastly, take action, take action, take action. Knowledge is information, but action is power. Please remember that, ladies and gentlemen, because I know a lot of people. I did when I was doing financial planning and the investment advisor. I would do their plan, and I would leave and check back with them months later, and they wouldn't do nothing. I got out the business and checked back with them, and they have a plan, but they didn't even apply it. Same thing with people doing budgets. They write it down, but they don't apply it. Take action is so important, you all. And that's the advice we like to give y'all for today, because
and
there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, and unscripted. It takes way more effort than you would think to build wealth and maintain wealth. It's very complicated process. Rules change all the time. Your situations changes all the time. There's so many things that can happen that are out of your control, but you have to stay on top of it to make sure you're maximizing what's coming in and minimizing what's going out. It does take work to build wealth.
Yes, so much so. And I'd like to thank everybody for being on today. We're hoping this information was useful to you all. I want to thank wonderful Kinzer sisters, Linda, Gloria, and Nolia. Gloria was able to get on today. Gloria is now the head trustee of her church. And so she's being,
Congratulations.
yeah, but boy, they be working her, man, like a Hebrew slave. But she's a great person to do it. I couldn't think of a better person to get them in shape. And we wish you well, Gloria, with your church, because churches are, that's the struggle these days, man. Churches are under assault, and we hoping now we uplift your church. And I can't remember the name of your church. Put it in the text box, Gloria. I forgot the name of the church. Joanne Skinner, always a winner. I love saying that. And Modestine down there in Lexington, South Carolina. We thank you for being on. The wonderful Kitty Cheney, and she's said, "Happy Father's Day to us." Thank you very much. Um, you had a message in my credit card interest rate is too high. Okay, cool. Okay, I did say that. Make sure I covered everybody, and thank you all for being on. And we will not be here next Thursday. Is that correct, Dope?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Dope will be out. Yeah, Dope will be out of pocket. So next Thursday, but we're going to be coming after the Thursday after that. Summertime, a lot of stuff is going on, you all. Matter of fact, before I forget, I want to remind all the people in the area that our band, I Am Your Daddy Band, the Kid Creole and Dr. Buzz and Savannah.
That is a cool name.
I Am Your Daddy Band, and we've been rolling, man. We get booked, and our next date is July 11th at the Bowie Town Center from 6 to 8 p.m. Come check us out. And we book at the Bethesda Theater in Bethesda, Maryland. Please come check us out on September the 6th at 8 o'clock. We get notarized, Dope. I was just, doing it because my family's a musical family, and I was just doing it, man. When they started paying me to do this, I'm like, Jesus, why? I didn't expect this. This can go into my little fund, my little gold. Give me some more gold. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for being on. Me and Dope, we really appreciate that. Trust me, you all, over 500 viewers. We are so thankful. We don't do any really marketing. We just want to give information to people. So we rely on you all to spread the word to your family, to your friends, co-workers, church parishioners. Please let them know, because we know that this is vital information. So, Dope, my quote for this week. Thank you, Gloria. Mount Zion Baptist Church of D.C. Thank you very much, Gloria. Should have known there was a Mount and a Zion and a Baptist in there. Thank you. Mount Zion Baptist Church of Washington, D.C. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. We wish you well. Wishing strong membership and new members come in, because people need it. So, Dope, you need to listen to this today.
Paying attention.
Thank you. Forgive yourself for not knowing earlier what only time could teach.
I got to think about that one.
Okay, let me say that one more time.
Yeah, say that one more time. You did.
Forgive yourself for not knowing earlier what only time could teach. And I only say that because some people beat themselves up because they didn't know, or they wish they would.
Yeah, that's cool. I get that. I like that.
Okay, took you a while, but
yeah, I'm slow. Okay.
Yeah, you were on that yellow bus, and it took you longer to get there because you were sitting on the back. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Kitty said, "Oh, okay, thanks, Kitty. Sunday, yes, at Fairwood and Bowie, 4 to 6 for the June Caribbean Heritage Concert for everybody in the area. Y'all know where Fairwood is. That's a wonderful." It's actually townhomes and large single-family home, newest kind of establishment. Dope, been around for a few years. Kind of a very new establishment of single-family homes and townhomes. 4 to 6 on Sunday at Fairwood, the June Caribbean Heritage Concert. So check it out. Thank you, everybody, for being on. We see you 2 weeks from now. Love everybody, and peace.
Peace.